What's going on, Steelers Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Texas Steel Podcast. I'm your host, Pierce Trexler, joined as always by my cousin, Drake Greenstein. Here we are. You know the vibes. A lot of good stuff has been happening lately in Steelers Nation. Drake, how you feeling, bro?
Feeling good, man. But a lot of news has dropped. The makeshift of the league is changing.
Completely.
We're going to go over big changes in the NFL. First things first, kickoffs. Rest in peace.
It's going to be completely different, but thankfully this should bring a little bit more juice and excitement back to the kickoff itself. I mean, I think I saw a statistic, almost 80% of kickoffs were touchbacks like within the past three seasons, which is kind of just when you know it's mundane. I mean, truthfully, anytime a kickoff would happen, whether it was before or after our scoring, I'd just be like, if I was in the kitchen or fridge getting a snack or drink, I was like, I ain't need to see it. Like,
rest in peace to the surprise onside kick.
Oh, no, yeah, but straight up, so wait, how is that going to happen, though? What are they going to do?
We'll never probably ever see a surprise onside kick.
No, unless it's like to open the second half of a Super Bowl.
But shout out the Saints, bro.
You never know. But definitely seems like a damper. I think this could be a little bit more splashy, though. Obviously, gives a little better of a chance for a return game to have some splash in the special teams.
Well, catch everyone up that doesn't know. Basically, I'm going to show you on the screen. I'm going to overlay this, but basically, the kicker will stay at the 35 and kick from the 35 to the opposing end zone. But from there, instead of having everyone line up right where the kicker kicks it, there's actually going to be a return man and then 10 players, like the entire return team, listed up right in front of them with the entire opposing team only 10 yards away. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a snap, honestly. Right when the return man kicks the ball, then everyone just collides. So I think you're right. I think it brings a different element. I mean, ultimately, out of all the plays, the kickoff, as you were telling me earlier, is like substantially the most injured play in all of football. So I feel like they had to make the change. It felt like it was inevitable, right?
No, yeah, definitely.
They'd always been flirting with it.
Yeah, so many injuries have happened, unfortunately, due to this, and it definitely seems like it's going to be a good move, but they're adapting basically the XFL form. So maybe people can get crafty with their blocking schemes or return abilities on this one, but I think people are going to start using and taking this to their advantage, and it seems like we kind of hit the road running as soon as this news was released.
Facts,
we went out and signed. Remind me of the boy's name.
Yeah, Cordarrelle Patterson.
Cordarrelle Patterson, that was it. But very good special teams cat. I mean, you can allude to him probably better than I could.
Well, for those who also don't know, Cordarrelle Patterson, former Bear, Patriot, last on the Falcons. He was like a receiver, running back, punt returner. But if I'm not mistaken, Cordarrelle Patterson has the most NFL history kick return touchdowns, more than your boy Devin Hester, bro.
Oof. Jacoby Jones, probably more.
Most in NFL history.
Wow.
So
he's still younger-ish.
Yeah.
He's not over the hill at the moment.
Yeah, he's definitely.
He's probably on
he's trending upwards,
looking over the horizon. Yeah. Just about at the top of the hill. But for what we got him for, I think it was a pretty good move. Obviously, I think we're gonna throw him in at all the return games, give him some more reps there. Maybe try to utilize Calvin Austin more as a receiver and Cordarrelle Patterson as the return man. But I also wouldn't be surprised to see him come in as a little 3 running back trio or something of the sort, just to get him a few touches.
Hey, the more tools you can add to the offense, the fact that you can throw Justin Fields in there, you can throw Jaylen Warren in there. If you want smash mouth, we can give you Najee. If we want some kind of like, weird option scheme with like Cordarrelle Patterson's in the back with Warren on the side, and then you got like a guy, you got Najee running on like a motion or something. So
crazy.
I mean, the more tools to Arthur Smith's disposal, but man, Cordarrelle Patterson took that 84 from AB.
Hey, if there's going to be another one great that can take the next step, let's hope and let's see it's him. I wonder
see him
what
on Twitter. AB's
CTSPN.
He said, "Boy, you taking my 84?"
Oh, he was upset or pressed about it?
I don't know. Actually, let me check. He was he retweeted it. Everyone was waiting for AB to respond because someone taking AB's number.
No, for sure. Well, like you were saying, I think he was the first person since AB to have that number. And I don't know, a lot of Steelers fans, and at least the recent ones, I don't think there's a more memorable 84 in Steelers history than your boy AB. But speaking of number changes, I think we got a few. It looks like Justin Fields is going to be officially number 2, which will be starting his second chapter, second life here in Pittsburgh. Definitely think that could be cool. Wish we could have maybe finagled some of the rules, but obviously Gary, whatever,
Gary
old
Anderson.
kicker
All right,
back
can
in
we
the day.
take a second? We talked about this off camera, but like, can we like get over like the officially unretired but retired numbers? Like, bro,
I can understand if you want to keep going.
if you're not gonna give the number, just retire it. Like,
yes, no
why,
doubt.
Why
but
do we 12, 43, 7? Like,
at this point?
at this point,
yeah.
just retire the number instead of having an
I can understand it, and it's due to respects. And this guy was a kicker. People want to be finagly about that, but inevitably he was on the decade team back in the 70s. So he obviously was a generational kicker, and
he
I don't
was hopping team to team.
I don't know if he was deadass. He was. I just don't know if the Steelers are gonna give the glory to a guy they traded a 6th-round pick for that still is not as.
But if
fully
he takes
proven.
the reins, bro.
Shit! Go back to one. Go back to one. Go back to one.
Right
Hey,
back on there, bro.
let's if we can put pen to paper and sign that, Justin Fields, you get us a playoff win or two, you can have number one for sure.
Pickens gonna be like, where was my one? Yeah, Pickens 1-1, but
yeah, hey, he was a 2nd-round draft pick. It's okay. It's okay.
Right.
You got to have that first line of credibility. But so I think Fields is 2. What other numbers we got coming out?
Deshaun Elliott 2.5.
Oh, like that, like
Diontae Jackson is 26.
26.
I'm pulling him up now. Fields 2.
No, Killebrew's 8, so or 28. Fields 2. We got who was didn't someone snatch 5 or am I tripping?
Kyle Allen, the 3rd-string quarterback the Steelers just signed.
Hey, that's
4.
the better Allen from Buffalo. I gotta say that. Josh Allen ain't nothing.
Oh,
okay,
gosh.
real quick, let's talk about that.
let's hit
Stefon Diggs to Houston, bro. Houston's kind of loading at the moment. Obviously, they're trying to be aggressive with C.J. Stroud's rookie year deal, making some acquirements in the wide receiver room position. They only gave up, I think, crazy low. It was only like a second, but they got in return a 5th, a 7th, and Diggs, which is just crazy.
I'll be honest. I think the immediate media reaction was like, Stefon Diggs to Houston. All right, first off, they actually wiped the entirety of the rest of his contract. So the Texans are only going to have him for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you knew that. It was like kind of a weird clause.
Yeah.
And the second part, man, like Stefon Diggs went like the last 9 to 10 games this season without over 100 yards.
He's been trending down. He's only just been scratching the surface of 1,000-yard seasons the past 2 years.
Like you just know, like I was like watching all the YouTube, like the news cycles, and Stefon Diggs would say something on Twitter, and his brother would chime in like, that boy deserves more, and then they would try to quiet it down.
Yeah.
And everyone on the outside knew like this guy kind of comes off like a cancer.
For sure, definitely diva. OBJ, almost
yeah,
this
OBJ,
era's
like
OBJ.
worse OBJ vibes, low key.
And I mean, you obviously see him and Josh Allen were butting heads throughout. Honestly, the past better half of 2 seasons. Oh yeah, they were barking.
No, in the playoff game versus the Bengals, Josh Allen's sitting like looking at the tablet with the QB coach, and then like Diggs is coming like talking shit, and I'm like, bro, like don't do that to your QB in a playoff game. Like,
well, at this point, obviously Houston's trending up. They're a young squad, maybe having a little fire in the kitchen. Obviously, hopefully blow that up a little bit. I don't want to see Houston become one of these juggernauts with the way Stroud is seemingly to be projected. But just with this move, him going there, obviously the Steelers are still looking for a wide receiver move. I'm almost just like, damn, bro. Give me a Nico Collins. Give me a Tank Dell or something.
Yeah.
Try to go out and pursue, because if that's going to be such a loaded receiver room, even if they got Diggs on not the most expensive of deals, like, do you really need 3 of that caliber guy in the same room? And
well, we'll cover that in a second. I had on the agenda, so the kickoffs. Now, what are your thoughts on this? The second big move that I was kind of alluding to, the hip drop tackle is officially going to be enforced this year.
Yeah, it's an offensive-driven league nowadays, unfortunately. They're wanting to see points. They're wanting to see more splash. Obviously, they're going to try to sugarcoat it and say they're looking for preventing injuries and player safety and health. But if they truthfully wanted to do that, they're just going to go and replace all turf fields and get grass in there. But this is a money stance thing. It's going to be
facts on the grass.
Yeah,
bro. Like,
I mean, if you're wanting to prevent injuries, the turf leads to much more injury than a hip drop tackle. Like,
there's
it's literally
proven statistics.
It's a damn near made up definition or term. Like, hip drop tackle, people were never even alluding or talking about this phrase of a thing 3 seasons ago. It's kind of just been
seriously, where did it come from? It just like out of nowhere.
And people just started talking about it as if it was like a fumble or a pick, like a defined football move or action. And I'm like, this just kind of came together. Obviously, it
You
sucks
hate it,
for
right?
I hate it for
I hate
defensive
it.
players. I think even offensive players are speaking out about it now. Because truthfully, like the refs have so much shit to deal with on their own end. Adding another layer of ticky-tacky calls that one could make, it's just gonna be
Seriously,
for
I'm gonna dread.
a lot of crazy shit. Imagine just in the Super Bowl, like how the Chiefs got the cheap call with Juju and the Eagles, the
Yeah.
PI, like such a pivotal play on the biggest stage. Like it would just be detrimental to see some sort of fluke or bullshit call.
You know what
Hopefully,
I'm dreading? Like a 3rd and 25, and a team draws up like a halfback draw, and then the guy like whips him from the side, and they're like, automatic first
first
down. And
down.
it's
Okay, like get this. Tell
bro.
me you're a 180-pound
Bro.
cornerback, 170-pound cornerback, and Derrick Henry breaks through the first line of defense. What are you gonna do to bring that man down? He weighs twice as much as you. He can probably bench 8 of you. Like there's nothing. You're not supposed to do anything but drop your weight. And from all of these injuries and videos that they're putting out and talking about it, like it's a different tackle every play. How
Yeah.
can you identify or fully correct? Obviously, I think it's chalked. A lot
Like
of people.
I get protecting the head because like ultimately that's where your brain's at, your cognitive function, and sometimes you can slow up and really drop a shoulder. But even that, like sometimes the instincts come into play. It's just like knock this guy down.
And it's so
But
bang
this
bang.
is like straight instincts. I gotta get a guy on the ground, bro.
Yeah.
And like I got Derrick Henry, bro. I'm just gonna freaking grab the waist and try to
and
pull this.
hope someone else can come to help.
Yeah,
like,
it's just ridiculous. I just like you said. I mean, this is just telling how much of the offense is favored in this rule change. I really don't like it. I feel like it was just like 2 to 3 plays, like Mark Andrews, Tony Pollard, like they all suffered an injury because of it, and like I feel
that
bad
sucks,
for you. It
unfortunately.
sucks,
but
it's
at the
part
end of the day, and at the
game.
end of the day, like there could be something that even comes around as like, I would put the house down on it if you were to put a survey in front of all NFL players and were to say, coming into this league, you know that you are at risk of injury. Sign this paper if you're down to sign up, whether they're worried about lawsuits or player safety, whatever it be. Like there are different ways that we can go about this than enforcing crazy defensive rules that are going to be so much more focused and centered towards offensive growth and development. But it is what it is. I feel like a lot of people are on the same basis and consensus unless you're on the offensive side of the ball actually playing. But definitely shitty. We're only a few years until they strap the flags on them. And
I mean, I was
that's what they're
saying,
playing
I was
for.
texting my buddies, like, I feel like in some ways, if the NFL, like, if we see a documentary in 5 years, like, documenting the NFL, I always, like, thought this sounds like the first domino to fall of, like, how the NFL, changed to flag football. This feels like the first domino, because, like, at this point, you can't go high, you can't go low. You got to literally rely on, like, all the stars to align on like a 2-second or a millisecond play. I have to find that perfect sweet spot to tackle you. It's just
crazy.
It's just
well, even damn like some of the calls that were called last year, even like you were saying, can't hit high. Well, gosh, who was it? Not Eric Rowe, was it last year?
KZ?
KZ getting ejected. Like, bro, are you kidding me? Some of these hits, like, dog, yes, it's aggressive. The offensive receiver did not take the better end of the blow, but brother, like, if you're coming across the middle, reaching out for a ball, like. Teams playing for a playoff spot.
Face the consequences.
You want to throw across the middle? Like, come check up. This is what can happen across the middle. But it's just, like you said, it's one domino to fall. We'll see how many are to follow or to come after. I obviously hope that they pump the brakes a little bit and we're able to still have it. But I think it'll be very interesting in the preseason. I think we'll see a lot of fines dished out. I think a lot of flags. They'll try to really make those first 4 games very...
Bro, they're giving
imposing.
guys $10,000 fines for not pulling their socks all the way up. I mean, just imagine you're getting a fine for trying to tackle Derrick Henry.
Crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same consensus. It's kind of some bullshit, but here we are. We'll see where it is. I just hate that the league is making these changes inch by inch, and pretty soon we're going to be back a mile asking how we got here. But I just don't want the window for the Steelers to win a Super Bowl to get shamed as, oh, well, that year was like the bubble year or the COVID year. Like, it doesn't count as a true championship because they had that rule adjustment.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it lasts. I feel like this might be a trial season, but what else you got?
Yeah. Well, as you were alluding to with Tyler Boyd and or the wide receiver situation, I'm getting ahead of myself. But we got Quez Watkins. I remember him. He was on the Eagles. He'll be joining the wide receiver room.
Welcome to Pittsburgh,
Yep.
Quez. We're happy to have you.
Yep. Van Jefferson obviously has joined the wide receiver room. Cordarrelle Patterson. So Still, I don't like the current state of the wide receiver room, to be honest.
Not at all, bro. We got maybe one. Like Pickens, don't get us wrong. Like crazy talent, crazy potential, but
Fringe.
But he's two years in the league. Still needs to be proven a little bit. Like obviously he has wide receiver 1 capabilities and aspirations, but
He'll step into the role.
We'll need to see a little bit more though. He's not definitively that guy like a few other wide receiver 1s across the league. And then we're surrounded by potential 3 and 4s and honestly practice squad guys. So I definitely think that we need to address the wide receiver. That's why I said maybe potentially looking at one of those Houston guys now that Diggs moved over there. Give us Nico, give us Tank, one of that. But honestly,
as it stands, I don't know if I don't think. I mean, you can feel free to disagree, but I don't know if we're gonna make any big splashes now before the draft. I think Tomlin and Omar Khan in all their interviews have talked about like the wide receiver depth and how you can attack that in later rounds. Mm-hmm. I think they got their eyes set on JPJ or Mims. From Georgia.
Okay, yeah. So let's kind of touch back. I know last episode we touched a little on some of the draft, but speaking on that, I personally think, man, like if JPJ, I think there's like 2 teams ahead of us that might also be in contention for a center, and it seems like he's the number 1 name. And from what everyone said, it's like a little bit of a gap. So every other center that comes after JPJ will be maybe a 2nd, 3rd round guy. So here's what I'm thinking. JPJ also has only had 1 year of stardom at Oregon. It was like his last year that he really popped off, went good. Whereas you look at Cedric Van Pran, some of these other centers, they'd been doing this for 3 years and at a constant, consistent rate where personally I view that as more proven. And if he's done it more sustainable for a few more amount of years, I think we can wait on center, get us a Mims, a guard, or a tackle.
They're saying tackle, honestly.
Tackle
Let me try that, by the way.
Yeah, go for it. But get a little tackle in there first round because Mims also is generational. People are saying he's going to be some extreme and great talent, but I think if we could get him in the books first round, honestly, I'd still be down to think Cedric Van Pran might slip to the 3rd, snag a wide receiver in the 2nd, and really try to fill it out. But
Roman Wilson, we talked about it last episode. That's gaining track. I look at the mock drafts; it says Mims and Wilson. So
hey, I think Wilson will be there in the 2nd for sure.
Would be
maybe even in
that
the 3rd.
would be a solid wide receiver too, in my opinion.
But if it were to come down to it, if we were to take Mims over JPJ, whoever else in the 1st round, I almost feel like center is still a higher priority than wide receiver at the moment. People are saying we'll bring back Buddy Mason Cole. I'm like, guys, we are not going to do this.
We dropped him. We cut him.
No, that's what I'm saying. But people are like, bring him back up. He'll be our center. Or we're going to move Herbig to center, a position he doesn't play. Like, guys, center is an important position. Let's just go out and get a guy. Yeah. If it's not JPJ, if he's snatched 1st round, let's just go ahead and move on, get Mims in the 1st round if he's already taken, and then Cedric Van Pran 2nd or 3rd round, getting a wide receiver somewhere higher up there. Yeah. I still am not out on making a free agency move. Like, obviously, we knew Stefon, things weren't fully stable in Buffalo, but I wasn't thinking him to be moved this late in the
I like the roster as it stands, and I think the draft will be just a good cherry on top. Now, I told you I got a little surprise for you.
Run it.
All right, so little inside scoop here that just dropped about the Diontae Johnson trade as why it went down. And this is coming from Mark Caboli. He's like really well versed within the locker room, always has some pretty good insight, usually reliable too. But Johnson was traded because he was heading into the final year of his contract because we gave him like a 2-year extension. 3-year extension. He wasn't going to be re-signed, so the Steelers already pre-decided, and he felt the Steelers' quarterback situation wasn't going to put him in this position to cash out on another contract.
Well, go enjoy Bryce Young in Carolina, brother. Holy shit. 2 days later, here you come, Russ. Here you come, Justin. Come on, buddy. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, that's truthfully what it comes down to at the end of the day.
But can you blame him? Because if the Kenny stuff didn't go down, so I probably would have been like, bro, give me.
Again, the grass always presumably is greener, though. Like, you can, even with Kenny and a Mason competition next year, if we didn't acquire Russ and Justin, like, you're still in a damn better position than what could be Carolina or going to another impoverished organization. Obviously, I feel like he's biting his words and decision now, but inevitably, if you could tell me, we still would have DJ. Like, if he could have just gotten through and we make the Russ acquirement first, get rid of Kenny, something of the sort, like I would feel so confident in this
Yeah.
team and well-rounded as a wide receiver room, offensive as a whole. And now, yeah, obviously with him gone, it's taken a significant hit. We need to fill, and it seems like, bro, we just be on Tinder swiping wide receivers. We're like, you have potential upside, you have potential upside, you have potential upside.
Yeah.
Guys, granted, happy to have you here in town, but y'all are not all going to be on the team. Like, there's 2 dogs, 3 dogs, 1, 2 bones. Like, unfortunately, we just don't.
It is starting to get Quez Watkins, Van Jefferson, Calvin
loaded
Austin,
of, like-
Cordarrelle Patterson, GP. That's 5.
But like 4 of them ain't like even definitive threes type shit, you know? Like we'll have to see. I if we could have just kept DJ, but again, it all comes down to what I was gonna say at the beginning. Volunteers, not hostages. Tomlin's made it clear. Kenny, Diontae, you saw Diontae's lack of effort. Like when you're wearing the black and gold, brother, like you need to wear that armor with pride, show up to work every day, and it seemed like he was already 1 foot out the door before everything got all said and done. But that's crazy. I didn't fully
The whole
realize
offense
that.
felt like they had
That's
1
news
foot
to
out
me.
the door at one point. Yeah.
Well, we were damn near ready to blow it up, and again, I know we were back in our season talking fire Tomlin, and not to say that he's not to go without any criticism or vocalization against him. I think he definitely is not a great coach, or not 100% best coach in the league. He definitely has his flaws, but to be able to go freaking 10-7, get into the playoffs with Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph as your guys, interchanging in a tandem with all the drama with the receivers, losing the locker room damn near because they don't respect the quarterback. Like, I bite my words on everything I said with Tomlin. Not to say that I don't think there's room for improvement and ways to level up the game and stay competitive in the year 2024, but man, I'm happy that we got a stable guy at the helm of the ship, especially him and Omar. We've only seen 1 year with it, and we're already cooking here starting year 2. So Tomlin's definitely due for an extension, in my opinion. Only if he wants to, bro, honestly.
No, he's signing it in July.
He is? Okay, because I know he got a lot of flack. I'm sure he hears a lot of shit on his neck. And
The Tomlin era continues, baby.
hey, you know it's a crazy thing. I know as Steelers fans are not often reminded of this, but in our organization's history, 3 fucking coaches.
Yeah.
You look at all these other organizations, Browns have had 50 coaches.
The carousel.
It's and then you got to be fortunate for what you have. And I went back last season and was saying I don't think Tomlin could ever win a Super Bowl again, but we're pulling trigger and letting him make moves this year that actually seems
evolving.
like we can get to it. So not saying it's going to happen overnight, but I like the era more this season than I ever did last season or seasons past, because I was basically getting set to chalk up a 9-8 year with Kenny Pickett next year, but the buzz and the vibe is right for this team right now. Still got some needs that we need to address, but as a whole, man, I think we're on a good trajectory.
We are on the right path. Last update for anyone that hasn't seen, talks with Tyler Boyd have somewhat dissolved. As we kind of expected, solid receiver, really solid receiver. Kind of was a key component towards the Bengals offense, but he's asking for like 10 to 12 mil, somewhere in that range. The Steelers are not budging as far as the asking price, probably being within 5 or less. So
speaking of, if I could tap into that a little bit, obviously Tyler Boyd, we want to bring the homeboy home, but we're going to have a lot of money due on the offensive side of the ball here shortly. Next season, Najee's contract's going to be up. Muth's contract's going to be ready. Season after that, we got Pickens and Darnell and I'm blanking, Broderick Jones. We're going to have money coming to the offensive side of the ball here shortly. And I think that's why, even with the Brandon Ayuk thing, like, we really just can't go out and dish 30 mil, 40, 50 mil on receivers for 2-year, 3-year contracts when we're going to have money to do to all these players within the years to follow. But I saw a little projection of like our stock or capita moving forward in the next few years, and Omar Khan has set us up great. We're not going in any crazy type of debt or making any stupid deals. Like, our cap looks great moving forward, but I feel like if we were to make a Brandon Ayuk or a Tyler Boyd situation, we'd get fucked inevitably down the road for having to pay the guys in-house that we've built as the Steelers do as
plus
their brand.
Plus the draft capital.
Definitely.
It just wasn't worth it. But
yeah. We definitely still need a wide receiver too.
It'll come.
We got a lot of 3s and 4s battling right now, but I still feel good in all hopes. Real quick, if you want to just do one last thing, more talk to follow long off season, but as it currently stands, Justin or Russ QB1, who are you feeling?
Probably at the moment, Russ. I don't look. I'm pro Steelers, bro. But that boy Justin Fields is cold, bro.
Yeah, he's cold.
Highlights.
He's got good athleticism, great intangibles, but
I just see someone that's younger Russ, that's already ready. But
do you think his pride's gonna get hurt if he were to have to sit this year in its entirety? We roll with Russ. Say we make a playoff game, maybe win one, losing like a divisional game or something. Like we win the wild card round, get kicked out. But it just seems like with Russ's money that he wants, do you think Justin would even want to come back after sitting an entire year to be our guy of the future next year?
There's so many what ifs, like how Russ plays, how Justin plays, well, how the Steelers view them on the roster. There's so many independent factors that are playing into it. I honestly, I don't really envy the front office or the coaching right now to have to decide this. Personally, I would leave it to I want open competition. If Justin plays better in preseason, I want Justin to start.
And let's not have no bullshit of Mitchell Trubisky, Kenny Pickett competition. Mitch, is going to shit the bed 4 weeks. Kenny, come save the day.
Yeah.
Like, let's just make our decision off the rip. I don't want to have to rip a Band-Aid off later when we're 1-3 or already in some sort of hole. If it's clear cut from the beginning and Justin better or Russ is better,
I agree with Tomlin.
No feelings.
Russ gets the pole position because he's, he's been there, done that. He's won a Super Bowl. I totally respect Russ and everything he's accomplished. But let's not get carried away. I'm happy he's a Steeler, but like Russ hasn't been performing as like Russ probably would like the last 3 years.
That's why I think it could be a good fresh start. But
it could be a good fresh start. But at the same time, man, like I want him to get the first reps first. Obviously, since he's seen that. But if Justin comes out in preseason, shows more spark, shows more gel, you can just tell the offense like you could tell when certain players come in, you just see everyone responds to him. Mason Rudolph, week 15.
We actually had us a quarterback to throw the damn ball. Yeah. Holy shit. You saw how the receivers were talking.
So I don't want to just be like you said, obligatory, like we did with Mitch. Like, well, Mitch is just going to get it because he's a veteran. We saw how that went. Everyone's chanting, Kenny.
By week one. Week one, they was chanting that shit.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. I think
this could be a whole episode in and of itself. Like
I agree. I think Russ it's his job to lose, but I want there to be open competition where Justin's at least getting minute reps with first teams and things of that sort. But lot to cover, a lot more to be unveiled within the next few weeks to come. Obviously, closing in on the draft, we'll probably have to do a little live stream or definitely video to shortly follow that. That could be a crazy one, but everyone has their picks, has their aspirations, know who we want to draw and pick within this next draft. But anything else you want to get into before we head on?
No, we're getting close to draft. That's next. I mean, all these questions we got are about to be soon answered, and I don't expect too much going on in free agency, so draft really is the big thing.
Definitely. Can't wait to see who we get, fully fill out the rest of this roster and squad, and then we can really start getting into projections. Here shortly, I believe within the next week or two, we should get the schedule released. We've had the opponents released, but we should be able to see times and dates of each of the games. People are alluding, the rumor I'm hearing, Week 1 in Denver, little Russell Wilson revenge game, but we'll have to see. Give us another episode, and definitely by the next one, we should have this news pressed and hot off the rip. But with that being said, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hold it down, you guys, and here we go, Steelers. Here we go.